He had already been in financial planning practice for, I think, over a decade. Liked the opportunity, wanted to be able to start something from scratch. And we did that. Now we have, I think, 25 households, about 15 million under management. And we have a second certified financial planner named Amy, who just joined us in September.
Wow.
So when did you 5-month backlog now, like a wait list.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Good for you. When did you start that up officially?
We actually filed the paperwork 2 years ago. So it was the end of 22. And I sort of experimented with Mariner for about 9 months prior to that. But I took my Series 65 in November of 21. So I was about 3 years into the estate planning practice.
Okay.
And a lot of it is, if you've spent any meaningful time networking with financial, professionals, you realize like a lot of them are just bullshit artists. They're just salespeople. They don't actually do anything. And a lot of their clients don't know any better. And so having now the knowledge and understanding of advisor compensation that I have now, you start realizing that that's the industry. Like that's mostly the industry. It's a brokerage. And so you kind of have this very passive engagement with client service. There's really not a ton of value. It's really just asset allocation recommendations, and I'll see you next year. And then they make an advisory fee, plus there's fees coming off the products that are being recommended, because they're usually like mutual funds that have 1% expense ratio. So a lot of clients will maybe meet with their advisor once a year, not really get any actionable advice. Most of the meetings with those advisors are additional sale opportunities. So like, have you thought about long-term care insurance? What about this annuity? That kind of stuff. And then they end up paying a lot more in fees than they realize. So it's usually closer to like 2.5% rather than what people often think is just 1%. So we came in wanting to specifically not be like that. One, because when you attach to a brokerage, you're beholden to them. So you kind of have to do everything that they want you to do. But two, we wanted to not ever have our fiduciary hat taken off. It's just, we always wanted to be a best interest in all things forever, mostly so that we obviously could have a consistent feel and client service across all aspects of the client engagement, but to be able to just rub their faces in it in terms of comparison against the market, to be able to stand on that soapbox and really lord over the competition.
Yeah.
And it's been really successful. It's incredible, like how that could even be a blue ocean strategy. It is. That's just how bad the industry is.
Yeah. That's really interesting. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's something that we just started like talking about like last week, and what you're doing sounds really appealing.
Yeah. And we're going to, there's a couple avenues that will spring from this. One is to open up our RIA to other advisors, to other attorneys. I think the proliferation of these doc prep shops like Trust and Will and all these, do-it-yourself integrations with financial advisory firms are going to further alienate those centers of influence. So advisors are going to stop referring to estate planners, and estate planners are going to stop worrying about stepping on toes and go get their licenses and start offering a family office model. And so we are going to do really two things. One is open up our RIA for additional attorneys to join, to basically bring their clients on board and essentially be like that solicitor, but in kind of a different way. The other is to open up a coaching platform, like a course, to basically say, this is how you do it. If you want to open up this family office reality within your own environment and just sort of dominate your market, this is how it looks. Because I believe it's the way it needs to be, especially on the fee-only fiduciary side.
Yeah, right.
It's not, hey, Joe, go learn everything you need to know about being a financial planner. No, it's you be the business owner, and then bring people in who are experts, who are actually going to do a hell of a job, servicing the clients that you already have.
Yeah. That's essentially how we
feedback on that. Like the ability to do literally all things under one roof, but to not cut corners on it, to not sacrifice on quality, to not sacrifice on fees. We're going to be competitive with everybody. Very easily.
Yeah, that's how we've been kind of successful, is just we've hired the right people, mm-hmm. people who knew what they were doing in the different practice areas. Yeah, when Ashley started, she knew business law. That was it, mm-hmm. right? And then we just got the right people in the different areas, and I've just kind of gone from there.
Business law is tough. I used to do a ton of business law and M&A, like on a fixed fee, but they're just such different marketing realities. Like it's just harder to penetrate the wall that is the insulated business owner. So we get the business work, but it's through the estate planning side.
Yeah, I think a lot of ours comes from there too. It was kind of the opposite. When we started, we were doing business law, and then they needed estate planning.
Yep.
And now it's kind of the reverse. What percentage of your revenue is coming from the financial stuff?
Well, they're separate firms. They're separate entities. So
for some reason I was thinking that they were the same. Okay.
No, Carey Financial Planning is a separate LLC. It's a RIA registered in North Carolina. And then Yokobitis Law, DBA, Carey Estate Planning, separate entity.
Got it.
We also have Planwell Legal, which it's a separate law firm under the same entity that does, it's like a downsell referral. We launched Planwell 3 years ago to basically be the other other end of the spectrum to basically service people who are priced out of the market,
We've
or
been
who
thinking
had
about
like
doing this.
really unrealistic expectations around pricing. But yeah, that firm alone is probably going to do, it should be about 500 grand this year, just on, does this, fee range. So this is all product of intake, right? You sort of figure out where your friction points are and your sort of off ramps and intake, and then you either acknowledge them and say it is what it is, I don't want to be all things to all people, or you take an opportunity to create a separate service delivery that is not ripe for confusion. So it's the same entity, but everything else is separate name, separate team. I mean, there's a full-time attorney, full-time legal assistant on that side, separate website, separate CRM, separate drafting, everything separate, separate phone line, everything. But often our carry estate planning intake is always the jumping off point. Like we have 5 people on our intake team that generally are pre-qualifying people. And part of our screen is a fee screen. We basically say like, our fee range is from X to Y. Is your budget for planning in that range? And if someone says, well, no, I was expecting like $1,000. Say, well, sorry, this is not going to be a good fit for you, but we have a sister firm that we refer to named Planwell Legal. If you want to, explore that, it's a cheaper outcome, more budget friendly because it's more truncated, more simple, more automated, no physical presence. It's all virtual. And then the fees are like $450 to $1,800 instead of, $2,000 to $8,000, $3,000 to $9,000 in the new year. But yeah.
Oh, you're moving them up.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, and well, it's moving up, but also value, right? So we're adding more. We've at this point done a lot of do-it-yourself funding instructions. We always do the legal side of funding, so deeds and corporate work, but we usually will just hand deliver the funding instructions for things like IRAs and life insurance and that kind of stuff. And so we're going to be moving our price point for like a married couple spousal trust plan from $6,000 to $7,500. And doing done with you funding. So scheduling like a post-signing funding meeting, like with the attorney on the matter to basically, it's like half an hour video meeting where they screen share, pull up their brokerage account, walk them through the TOD language. They screen share, pull up their IRA, log in, walk them through the TOD language, that kind of stuff to add that additional level of value. We're going to beta test like an ultra premium option too, like a $15,000 plan. That is like you just work with me. It happens inside a week. We come to your house. We do a remote signing at their house. I meet them at the bank, all that kind of stuff. Or like the prime attorney, whoever that is, and see what percentage of the clients bite on that. But yeah, more touch, more done for you, more speed.